Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Sheetal Patanjali. I am the Associate Professor in Anatomy. I will be demonstrating the fetal circulation today. The fetal circulation, basically purification of blood, oxygenation of blood and nutrient-rich blood is already ready-madely coming to the fetus from the placenta. So we have an organ of materno-fetal exchange that is called as the placenta, from where we have the purified blood that is coming from the umbilical vein. Umbilical vein is called as a vein because it is going towards the fetal heart. Okay, and though it is carrying oxygenated blood, because it is going towards the fetal heart, we call it as a vein. Okay, so this umbilical vein is going to go through the liver. Okay, and the upper parts of the umbilical and vitelline veins, if you remember from venous development, the upper parts of those veins are broken into numerous sinusoids, and those sinusoids which are aligned in a straight line, okay, along with the umbilical vein in a straight line, they form a channel which directly shunts the blood of the umbilical vein directly into the inferior vena cava. The inferior vena cava is getting impure blood or venous blood from the lower parts of the body, but the umbilical vein is getting the pure blood. So this 80% saturated blood is going to enter the right atrium, and from the right atrium there is a valve of inferior vena cava called as the eustachian valve, which is going to shunt most of the blood, that is 80% of the blood which is coming to the right atrium is via the inferior vena cava mixed with the umbilical vein ka blood. So that 80% of blood coming to the right atrium is shunted via the foramen ovale, because right atrial pressure is more compared to the left atrial pressure. So it is shunted via the foramen ovale, which is the second shunt. So first shunt we have seen here is ductus arteriosus. Ductus arteriosus was a shunt between the umbilical vein and the inferior vena cava, which majority of the blood bypassed the liver and directly got shunted to the inferior vena cava. The second shunt we encounter here is the foramen ovale, that is a communication between the right atrium and the left atrium. Okay, and then 20% of the blood only which comes from the upper parts of the body, that is the head and neck and the upper limbs, that is the venous blood coming from upper parts of the body, is going to gravitate and go via the tricuspid valve to the right ventricle. Okay, and 80% of blood has already shunted to the left atrium. Okay, now from here, from the right ventricle, that 20% of the blood is going into the pulmonary circulation, but because the pulmonary arterial pressure is more, because the lungs are in a collapsed condition, they are non-functional, they inflate only after the first cry of the newborn, so the pulmonary pressure is more. That is why the blood from the pulmonary circulation is shunted via, it is shunted via the ductus arteriosus to the, so this is our pulmonary trunk now, okay, coming from the right ventricle. This is our pulmonary trunk. It is shunted via the third shunt, that is ductus arteriosus, into the aorta, and from the aorta it is going to be distributed via all the branches of the aorta, the lateral branches, the ventral branches, dorsal branches, and the terminal branches, that is the common iliac. From common iliac we have external iliac going to the continuing as the femoral artery is going to the lower limbs, and the internal iliac has got 8 branches, out of which the superior umbilical arteries are the ones which come to the placenta. Now out of the superior umbilical arteries, the proximal part of the artery is going to form the superior vesical artery, and they remain patent and they supply the blood to the upper parts of the bladder, whereas the distal part is going to obliterate after the baby is born and the cord is clamped and cut. Okay, that obliterated one is going to form the medial umbilical ligaments. Okay, so now we have learned that the 20% blood which has come from the superior vena cava gravitates down, goes via the pulmonary artery or the pulmonary trunk, and shunted via the ductus arteriosus and put back into the systemic circulation, that is into the aorta. So this is the third shunt. Now the fetus is going to get mixed blood supply. The proximal part of the arch of aorta has got three branches, that is the brachiocephalic trunk, the left common carotid and left subclavian arteries, and these are only going to get the pure blood which has come via the left atrium and left ventricle, which have come directly from right atrium, shunted via foramen ovale, come to the left atrium, and via the bicuspid valve it went to the left ventricle. And the arch of aorta ka proximal part has got these three branches, that is the left common carotid, left subclavian and the brachiocephalic trunk. So the head, neck and brain and the upper limbs are going to get a considerably more amount of oxygenated blood, okay, coming from right atrium via left atrium and left ventricle, whereas the distal part beyond the ductus arteriosus, that is going to get the 20% of the blood which was the venous blood, okay, which bypassed the pulmonary circulation, didn't go much to the lungs, minimal amount of it reached the lungs, but most of it got shunted via the third shunt and mixed with the aortic blood and the systemic circulation. So this part is going to get a little bit lesser oxygen concentration ka blood. That is about this thing. The umbilical arteries, as I told you, it's going to go back to the placenta. We are calling them as arteries because they are going away from the fetal heart, though they are carrying the deoxygenated blood. Most of it oxygenated blood was up till here, but the deoxygenated blood means more concentration of carbon dioxide is there as it is coming back towards the placenta. That is, now just to revise this fetal circulation again, this is the placenta. Here in the umbilical cord we have one vein, that is the left umbilical vein, and two arteries, the right and left. The right umbilical vein has disappeared soon after its formation and only the left umbilical vein is left. Okay, we are calling it as vein though it is getting pure blood from the placenta. This is the umbilical opening. From here these upper parts of the umbilical and vitelline veins are broken into numerous sinusoids of the liver. Now the sinusoids, which are aligned in a straight channel between the umbilical vein and the inferior vena cava, they are going to form a shunt that is called as the ductus venosus. The ductus venosus, and the ductus venosus is the first shunt. Then it enters the inferior vena cava. So inferior vena cava is already getting venous blood from the body and purified blood coming from the ductus venosus. So it is getting now 80% of oxygen content is there in this blood. It is a mixed blood but with more amount of oxygen. Okay, then because of the valve of inferior vena cava, most of the blood is shunted directly to the left atrium because the right atrial pressure is more. So from a higher pressure to a lower pressure, it goes via the foramen ovale, which is the second shunt. Okay, and whatever blood has gone here, 80% of which has gone via the bicuspid or mitral valve. It goes via the aorta. Okay, by the at the same time, the blood which has come from the upper parts of the embryo from the superior vena cava, 20% of it that constitutes 20% of the blood coming to the right atrium, that is gravitating to the right ventricle via this tricuspid valve. Okay, and then it is going via the pulmonary artery, the pulmonary artery or the pulmonary trunk, and because the pulmonary pressure is more, because the lungs are in a collapsed condition and they are non-functional, only minimal amount reaches the lungs, whereas most of the blood is shunted via the third shunt, that is the ductus arteriosus, to the aorta. So the aorta ka proximal three branches, that is the branches from the arch of aorta, the left common carotid, left subclavian and the brachiocephalic trunk, they are going to purify, they are going to supply more oxygenated blood up till here, because it was directly the blood coming from the placenta and ductus venosus and all that. So this is much more rich in oxygen, so that the upper parts of the embryo, the head, neck, brain and the upper limbs are getting more oxygenated blood compared to the mixed blood which is beyond the ductus arteriosus. Okay, which is also having more a little less concentration of oxygen, then it is distributed via all the branches of this aorta, the terminal branches being the common iliac, and this is external iliac and this is internal iliac. The internal iliac one of the branches is the umbilical arteries. The umbilical arteries ka proximal part remains patent and supplies the upper parts of the bladder as the superior vesical arteries, whereas the distal part of it is continuing as the umbilical arteries, and its role is only up till the fetal circulation. After the cord is clamped and cut, these arteries they undergo a physiological closure and in due course anatomical closure, and these become the obliterated distal parts of the umbilical arteries are going to be called as the medial umbilical ligaments, whereas median umbilical ligament is a remnant of the urachus, which is connecting the apex of the urinary bladder, and that was a remnant of the allantois. That is median. Median is a single structure, whereas medial are 2 in number. They are the distal parts of the umbilical arteries which are obliterated. Now we have learned 3 shunts. The first shunt was the ductus venosus. Okay, it shunted the blood. Instead of going to the liver, minimal amount went to the liver, but most of it got shunted to the inferior vena cava, and after its role is over in the fetal circulation, it is going to be become a ligamentous structure, that is ligamentum venosum. Okay, the other shunt is the foramen ovale, the second shunt, which we saw is a communication between the right atrium and left atrium, and that is going to close after its role in fetal circulation is over and become the fossa ovalis. Okay, remnant is fossa ovalis. And the third shunt is the ductus arteriosus, which is a communication between pulmonary trunk and the aorta, and that is also going to be obliterated after the baby cries for the first time. So ligamentum arteriosum also gets obliterated, and ductus arteriosus also becomes obliterated to form ligamentum arteriosum. Then what happens to the one umbilical vein which was a content of the umbilical cord, that is the left umbilical vein. Right umbilical vein had disappeared soon after its formation, but the left umbilical vein persists as ligamentum teres hepatis. After its role is over in fetal circulation, it is going to form ligamentum teres hepatis. And what about the umbilical arteries? These are 2 in number, which take the blood from the common iliac to the placenta. And then they are going to, the proximal part remains patent and persists and supplies the upper parts of the bladder as superior vesical artery, whereas the arteries and the distal parts of which get obliterated to form the medial umbilical ligaments. That is about the fetal circulation. These 3 shunts you have to know, and what are the remnants you will be asked. So the pathway of fetal circulation, the shunts and the remnants after the cord is clamped and cut. This is what you are expected to know from this topic, fetal circulation.